Let's go over IT experience and getting higher paying jobs in the tech industry. This is something I know quite a bit about because I've been in the tech industry for over 2 decades and I've had high paying jobs up to like an IT director's position. And I've done every level of work you could imagine, all the way from help desk to working on big servers in data centers. So, with that, how do you start this? How do you get that job? And I'm going to break this down into 5 parts for you. There's going to be the first one, the actual credentials and experience, kind of going over that. Second one, going into how you cultivate that experience and how you build out your skill set. Number 3, how to actually network and properly improve your position once you finally get that foothold or that very beginning position. And then finally, I wanted to go over how to increase your pay and even give a job opportunity probably towards the end here. And I'm still kind of looking around for something. So with that, let's get into today's video and break down all the myths I see on the internet and how this actually works. So first off, do you need a college degree? This is probably the most asked question I get. The answer is no. When it comes to tech work, college degree practically doesn't help you at all. If anything, it kind of delays your entry into the workforce. And in America, it will probably put you in debt. And I highly recommend not going to college if you're going for some type of technical position. I would say focus on IT certifications. I have about 11 IT certifications. You still need some kind of higher education, so still graduate high school, still do the things you need to do, but be thinking about what you need to learn. And really, those certifications, a lot of people think if you have the cert, you know the stuff. That's not true at all. That's actually the reverse of that. Certifications are just basically entry points to get an actual piece of work or a job or maybe even a promotion. As I've gotten certs in the past for all of those things. I've had one that I needed to get promoted so I could work on servers. And then I needed one initially so I could work on regular computers like A plus or even a more line level cert. I think one of my first certs I ever got was Windows XP certification. I also got SBS 2003 so I could work on small business servers. But those were all entry level positions. They were all entry level certs that I could just get in, and then it was about getting the experience. Yes, I knew the technical knowledge of it or the actual textbook knowledge of it, but that does not translate into real world experience. Experience trumps all. If I never mention my certs because I don't care about them. I have the experience and I can do the things, and that's all anybody ever cares about. So when you're applying for applications to get in, once you got some kind of higher education or some type of cert, you can go ahead and apply. But remember, when looking at job applications, these are wish lists made by non-technical people. Occasionally it might come across the desk of an IT manager. I might look at it and go, yeah, that's fine. Here, throw this cert on here, and then hand it back to them and like, okay, find me some applicants. And then they'll go and do it. But that's a wish list. I don't anticipate everyone having every single bullet point on there. So when you're looking at these job applications, don't be like, oh, well, I had 3 of the 5. I guess that's just not good enough. I'm not going to apply. Go ahead and apply. If it's a job that you want to do, definitely apply for it. Shoot for the moon. And just know that it's more about when a good hiring manager, when he's looking at applicants, it's more about finding someone with the capability of learning than it is to have someone that already knows the knowledge. That's one thing I think it's lost on most of the general population. It's about that. Just having the capabilities to learn more. That's what I'm looking for. I'm not looking for someone that just can do everything right out of the gate, because guess what? That person doesn't exist. Every environment's different. Everything's configured differently depending on the business you've been in. And I've been in 50 to 100 different businesses, a variety of different fields, whether it's real estate, construction, all these are set up far different from one to the next. Yes, there are a lot of carryover between them, but each time I'd go into a new business, I'd think, oh, okay, here's something new. And I got that luxury because I was a contract worker and I was exposed to a whole bunch of different environments. That was a perfect foundation for me to learn in the early days. But as far as getting that experience, I would say test labs are paramount. If you're going to be at home, Set up something on a new hard drive. Whether it's a Linux install and you know Windows and you want to expand to Linux, do it. Or if you get a help desk position or a line level position and you want to expand your knowledge, set up a test lab at work. Instead of checking Facebook, set up a test lab. And guess what? Your higher up is going to come by and see you do this and go, "Oh my God, that's awesome, Titus. You learned something new? Great." They love that type of things. And I've even had some employers where they'll pay for any extra certs I wanted. Actually, back in 2018 or 2008, my MCITP Enterprise Administrator was completely paid for from my employer at the time. And I said, "Hey, I want to expand my skill set here." And literally, the owner of that business said to me that signed my paycheck. She was basically just said, "Hey, I don't mind doing that for you to better yourself, but you're not going to leave us, right?" And that's a good thing. That sounds like a problem, but actually that's a good thing. It shows your employer that you're willing to learn, that you're not just settling, that you're not just being complacent. And that's a really good thing. Always be learning something new. Every single year of my life, from the time I was 9 years old to now, every single year I learn at least a new skill when it related to technology. I was always doing something either after hours or learning something new, and I have a whole host of different skills where I've dabbled in every aspect of information technology. And I say that not to brag, but to say, hey, you need to be hungry to learn something new. This is going to pay dividends like you wouldn't believe. In today's world, with this type of skill set, the more you learn, the more skills and the more jack of all trades you are, the more you are set to succeed. And not just if you want to do entrepreneurship and do your own thing, you'll have all those skills to lean on to do everything. And you're going to save thousands upon thousands of dollars because you don't have to contract out for anything. Or you can get hired from somewhere and then they figure out, oh my God, you can do all these things, and you already know how to either train the person in that position, or someone's full of shit that's in that position and you can get rid of them. I've been in that position as well. These are all great things. So set up those test labs, learn more things, always be challenging yourself, never become complacent. And the third thing I would say when it comes to getting experience and high paying jobs, networking is key. Now, some of that experience you can learn from a textbook. You can learn from a YouTube video. God, I'd kill to have the resources that we have available today 20 years ago. But you can network through your coworkers. You can learn other people's jobs. Those are really cool. Or help other people out. Go out of your way. These are big things and they make a big impact to what you're doing. And it's not just people you work with either. I had one of the biggest opportunities of my life get presented to me because I worked really well with a vendor. And that vendor got asked by another business, said, "Hey, do you know a good tech guy?" And they're like, "Oh, you know what? This Titus guy I ran into, I did a migration with him. He literally had me in and out of there, had everything set up when I arrived, and we did it in like 2 hours. We were out of there before midnight. I thought it was going to take all night." And they were like, "Oh, well, that sounds awesome. We've just hired a couple worthless IT managers that we fired." So actually, one of my biggest opportunities I've ever got in my life was from that. So networking, always be thinking about it. Now, as far as getting higher pay, getting into the six figures, that type of thing, a lot of people think that their employer is just going to take care of them. And maybe this was true 30 or 40 years ago, but I've never had this the case. If you stick with a big employer, typically come review time, that yearly review, you'll get a 3 to 5% pay bump if you're extra good and you really work hard. But this is pretty much worthless. When it comes to big companies, if you really want to succeed and make higher and higher paychecks, you're going to be hopscotching between them. I read something the other day where if you want to get a higher paying job, you have to switch positions every 2 years, which seems kind of ridiculous, but literally staying with the same company for longer than 2 years, a lot of times those employers are making 50% less than their counterparts that didn't. So loyalty actually comes at a cost, believe it or not. So higher pay can equal that. I will caution you though, be careful. Don't just take the highest paying job that comes along, because my highest paying job ever was also my most miserable. I hated being an IT director. I hated managing people. I hated a lot of things about that job. And I will say, I did make a crap ton of money. Way more money than I've ever made in my life was there. But totally not worth it. So don't just chase that higher paycheck, but always be thinking of these types of things. Now, with all that said, I'm going to round this out with a job offer, which I've made in the normal channel. I went ahead and took that post down just because I was getting a lot of emails, which I didn't really think. I guess there's a lot of folks that just watch YouTube, and then I get kind of weird emails about it. I had one guy that like went off on me because he gave me his name, and then I didn't respond immediately, and he thought I was like part of the FBI, and I was tracing him down. I was like, oh my God, this guy is nuts. So I took that down. I'll probably end up going through LinkedIn, but I figure if you make it to this point in the video, it might be for you. I do have a position to work underneath me right now for probably a period of 3 to 6 months. And then I'll be transitioning out, at which point in time you'll take the reins of IT manager. It'll start out like a help desk position. I'll train you in whatever you need to learn. If you need to learn Active Directory, if you need to learn all that, I just need you to be very competent in fixing computer problems. Most of the problems I'm running into with this particular business is pretty line level, whether it's office issues or people trying to download massive amounts of documents, handling a lot of discovery, which, can go into the millions of files, those types of things, which I think most people that watch this channel probably already know how to do. But there's some other stuff, some higher level stuff that you can learn as far as Active Directory. I kind of already touched on. It does use Windows Active Directory. Most of the files are with like a old, I think it's QNAP NAS, not a Synology that I use here, but very, very similar. And kind of just show how all that replication and that type of thing works. And then go into like VPNs and that type of setup. Just your basic small business setup. It's nothing special, but it'd be really good for someone that's in that help desk position that's trapped, that wants to better themselves. That's who I'm really looking forward to talking. So if you're interested in that, send your CV or resume to contact@christitus.com. I will say when it comes to interview, I'll probably be the initial interview for you, followed directly behind me with like a managing partner. And you have to be pretty good with people. That's the big thing. Finding someone that's tech savvy is almost easy these days, but finding someone that can actually communicate with other folks, that's a little more difficult. And this type of job would definitely lend itself to being in person, and you have to communicate with folks. And 2021, that's a tall order, man. I've interviewed a lot of people for the job, and I haven't found anybody yet for it. I had one lady that I thought would be really good for it. I actually used to work with her back like 20 years ago, but she actually got snatched up by some other company before I could even get her in for an interview. So it's a really good time to be looking for a job in IT. And hopefully there's someone out there for this one. I might make a separate video if you guys are interested in actual interview questions, how to interview properly for a job. Because a lot of people, I think, only study canned questions. They don't understand how to hold a conversation or how to control a conversation in an interview setting. And that'd be an interesting one I'd like to tackle that maybe help folks out. So if you guys are interested in that, by all means, I can lend myself to that. I've interviewed probably, I'd say 100 to 200 people in the course of my career. So I can help you kind of guide that. What is an interviewer looking for? What's it like when you're interviewing? How to actually prepare for it? Some of the best interviews you can do, and some of the worst. I might make that video just because I'm so sick of people making, hey, learn what your greatest weakness is and that type of thing. Spoiler, I'm not going to ask those types of questions. That's just silly to me. I want to know about you and your tech experience and what drives you. And if what drives you is not tech, then it might not be a right fit for the job, and that's not a bad thing. It's not any knock about you. A lot of times when you're looking for a candidate, you want someone to jive with that position, and you as an employee want to like that position too. There's chances are there's going to be positions you go to apply for that just aren't right. Turn them down. Find something that gels with how you are. That's very important for just quality of life. As when I took the high paying position, I was couldn't be more miserable. So finding that position for me, I just like hands-on technical work and also talking to people. I do enjoy talking to folks, but it's one of those things. But with that said, let me know your thoughts down below, and I'll see you in the next one.